What's going on, guys? R9 back again with another car vlog. So I didn't think I was gonna get to do another one of these until at least Christmas. I had left my suction cup mount and the skeleton housing for the camera itself in my mom's car on Black Friday, and she lives in Oklahoma now, so I don't have those things. I can't mount it to the window and do all that, but I found the skeleton housing that I thought I left in her car in a bag full of Christmas stuff that we had bought that day. So I'm guessing that I had put it in that bag, not thinking about it, but the suction cup mount is in her car. So I have the skeleton housing, and I also have the adhesive pads or whatever. So I just mounted it to one of the base plates and mounted it to my dash. I still got a few years to pay on this car, so I guess by the time I go to sell it again, I will just try to pull it off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have to do some crazy things to get it off of there or what, but I had this idea that today I would talk about my crazy experiences or my my tickets that I've gotten in a car. I haven't gotten any other tickets besides in a car. I don't know why I said in a car. But first off, my first ticket, I was 14 years old. 14, yeah. I just got my farm permit, and I just got my first car. It was the 99 Dodge Avenger. It had a 2.5 liter V6 in it. It was the SE or whatever, the special edition. And I was on my way to school. I can't really turn the camera around and show you, but the speed limit on the way to my school, it goes from 30 mile an hour to 45, and it's from a stoplight. So I just got my car. I was like, oh, let's try to do a quick acceleration. And I took off from the stoplight, and it was 30, switched to 45, so I kept going. And when I looked down, I was going like 60. I wasn't really paying attention, and I wasn't trying to speed. I just got my car, and I was like, oh man, let's see how fast it is. I'm 14 and I got a car. That type of thing. Let me turn here. Nobody cool at work. So I was on the way to school, and it's down this road that's not very populated. It's like half highway. They consider it a highway. And the school buses have their own like bus barn or whatever they call it. And the cop was sitting at the bus barn, like just in the parking lot of that. And I went past that going about 60 in a 45. So that was fun. I got 15 over. I think it was like a couple $100 because it was considered a school zone. But that was my first ticket. I wasn't really doing anything stupid. My second ticket, I was on my way back from Missouri to my mom's house, because I lived on my own for my senior year. I was 18 my whole senior year, and I lived on my own. So I was on my way back to my mom's house from Missouri, and it's all back roads from there. It's about an hour and 15-minute drive from where I lived. And it's all back roads, so it's like 55 because it's like unmarked roads. And I was doing probably, I won't exaggerate, I was probably doing about 110, so double on this straightaway. And it was like up a hill, like there's a hill on the other end of this straightaway, and I come over the hill and my radar detector just goes off. And he was sitting on the top of the hill, like he was coming over the top and I was going through. And by the time it went off, I got down to 80 before he clocked me. So I got an 80 and a 55. not too bad. I was okay with it. I knew that I probably should have got a lot more, to be honest. 80 and a 55 was generous, because I'm sure it clocked me at more than that to begin with, but by the time I slowed down and it like set, it was only 80. That one was actually cheaper than the other one. I'm guessing because it was the school zone thing, but it was cheaper than the 60 and a 45, or was it 65 and a 40? It might have been 65 and a 40. But this one was an 80 and a 55. I was in the 2001 Volkswagen GTi, fastest car I've ever owned. It would easily do, I had it to like 170 one day. It had a big turbo, it was tuned, it was all kinds of stuff. It was fast. Yeah, that was lucky that I only got 80 and a 55. And then I've only had 3 tickets. So my next ticket was on the way to Comic-Con this past August, I believe, because they had 2 Kansas City Comic-Cons this year. They had Planet Comic-Con and they had Kansas City Comic-Con, KCCO, or KZCC, not KCCO. And I picked up Thundershot at his mom's house because he came over to his mom's house the night before because we were going to leave early that morning. I had Earth to Sailor with me, and Thundershot was in the back. He was like kind of sleeping because he got into his mom's house at like 4 in the morning, and we left at like 8, and he hadn't went to bed yet. And the reason I was speeding is a girl I was talking to from work. I had her sunglasses in my car, and she was leaving with her family that afternoon to go down to Oklahoma. And it was summer, and sunglasses, like, she gets headaches from the sun, and she was driving, so she needed her sunglasses. And she was gonna leave like 10 minutes before I would have got there, so I was trying to speed and get there a little bit sooner. But I was going about 80 and a 65. Yeah, it was a 65 because it was just past Thundershot's mom's house. So I was going 80 and a 65. It was a state trooper, so their radars are almost instant, and it was a laser, so that didn't really help much. I came around a corner, going up a hill. She was coming over a hill just like the second one, and as soon as the radar went off, I was in this car. I put my car in neutral and just pulled over. Yeah, it was very instant. I knew it was happening, and the guys with me were like, "Oh, you should argue it. You say you weren't going that fast." I'm like, "No, I know I was going that fast." I had everything ready when she walked up. Probably the best cop. It was a woman. First time I'd been pulled over by a woman cop, which I don't have anything against that. My mom was a cop for a while, and I had everything ready when she walked up, and she was very quick with it. It was maybe 5 minutes, and she went the other way, I went my way, and I kept speeding. Like it didn't really stop me much. But that one was $190. It was less than $200. I think it was the only ticket I had less than $200. But that wasn't too bad. I wasn't too upset about that one. I knew what I was doing, and I mean, all of them I knew what I was doing, except for the first one. I didn't really pay much attention to where I was when he clocked me. But that third one, it was really my fault. I shouldn't have been speeding to get her sunglasses. She could have just went to Walmart and bought sunglasses, or I could have just like, "Hey, I'll buy you sunglasses" or something. Yeah, it was kind of dumb. But those are my ticket experiences. I've been pulled over like 2 other times without tickets. Oh, no. I did get another ticket. It wasn't speeding though. I was in, what was I in? I don't remember what car I was in. It must have been the Volkswagen. It must have been the red GTi I had. I was driving down the highway about Thundershot's house, or his mom's house, back in, a few years ago when he still lived there. And on the way back, there was a guy that had pulled over a semi, a cop that pulled over a semi around a blind curve. So on the outside of the curve, there was a line of cars coming, so I flashed him my lights to tell him that there was somebody stopped there. And I knew the cop that was stopped there. His brother was my brother's best friend in high school, and he worked for my mom for a while. So I knew him, like, first name basis. He could have walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hey Colton, what's up?" And behind this line of cars, there was a state trooper that lives on my block. Like, he knows me. He knows my mom too. But he pulls me over and was like, "You know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "I have really no idea." He said, "Because you were flashing your lights." I was like, "Yeah, there's a blind curve, and Kurt had someone pulled over. I didn't want someone to come around that curve, not see him, and somebody get hit." And he was an asshole about it. He's like, "Well, that's very illegal, and you like impersonating a police officer for flashing your lights or something. I don't know. You could have blinded someone." It was in the middle of the day. It was like 3 o'clock, maybe. And he was just a complete asshole about it. Said I was doing like 80. I wasn't doing 80. He didn't give me a ticket for speeding. He just said, like, "Oh, you were going this fast, and I clocked you at this, and you're lucky I don't give you a ticket for that." I was like, "Well, I wasn't even speeding. I had a radar detector. I heard it going off, and I figured it was from the cop back there. But no, I had just come around the people on that road, and it was a blind curve, so I didn't want to be speeding around them. It was dumb, and I flashed my lights to tell them to be careful because I didn't want somebody to get hurt." And he wouldn't take it. He was like, "No, you're being stupid. You're young and dumb and whatever." Ended up getting a ticket for flashing my lights. Took it to my mom. She called him because she knew the guy. Ripped his ass. I guess he didn't realize that. I guess who I was. Which, why would that matter? It shouldn't matter who I am for getting a ticket. But he did apologize for being an asshole. But I ended up having to pay the ticket for flashing my lights because there was someone on a blind curve. And then the other time I got pulled over, same fucking guy, like a month later. I had probably, it was rated, I went to a competition. I had the 3rd loudest stereo in the state of Oklahoma in my Trans Am. I had like a JL Audio W7, if 2 of them. If you don't know what that means, it's like a subwoofer that's like $900, and I had 2 of them in my car. Very loud, very loud. I could knock pictures off of people's walls driving down the road. Like, say I'm just driving down the road and people's pictures would fall off their walls because it was so loud. And this guy lived on my block, and it was right around lunchtime. Yeah, I'd just come home from work for lunch, and I was driving down the road, and his car was sitting at his house, and I drove past his house, and I saw him like run out his house, like sprinting out of his house in my rear view. I was like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Jumps in his car and pulls me over and tries to give me a ticket for excessive noise. Our town doesn't have a noise ordinance until 10 o'clock at night, so there was absolutely nothing he could do. He couldn't give me a ticket, but he was really angry. Like, I don't know if he was still mad that my mom called and chewed his ass, or I don't know. But he tried to give me a ticket for that, which it wouldn't have held up anyway because we don't have a noise ordinance. And he's like, "Next time you go by my house, turn it down." So the next time I went by his house, I turned it up by like 3 notches, louder than what I run it at just driving down the road. And it was, I don't know, I was a dick. I don't have that loud stereo anymore. I don't have any of the subs or anything, so I don't do that anymore. But it was fun when I had it. But that same cop, he still lives down the road from me. I see him every now and again. He hasn't pulled me over since then. Whoa, don't pull out there, bud. About died. But yeah, those are my run-ins with the police officers. I guess I got pulled over one other time. and I was like going to a football game, and I left a Sonic, and the road was wet, and I was in the Trans Am, and it had a shift kit. It was an automatic with a shift kit. So when it shifted into second, it was a really hard shift, and it broke the back tires loose. I wasn't getting on it very hard, and it broke the back tires loose because the ground was wet, and I got pulled over. He didn't give me a ticket or anything because I explained to him like what happened, and he's like, oh yeah, like I didn't hear you revving the engine or anything, so you weren't like accelerating too fast. He didn't give me a ticket. He was really nice too. But that is about all my police experiences. Nothing too crazy there. But yeah, leave comments down below. Have you guys gotten any tickets? Have you got pulled over for something that you didn't think you did wrong, but the cop sure did? Yeah, that's gonna be it for now, guys. Until next time, later.